Welcome to Wrestling with Success, the best and only podcast for the wrestlers of tomorrow. Please welcome your host, Nigel? Oh, right. Your host and future champion, Neil McMillan.
So, guys and girls and wrestling fans worldwide, welcome to episode 11 of Wrestling with Success. This episode, we're recording this fresh off the heels of SummerSlam. This episode is special. Well, they're all special, but this episode is different. Today, I have a fatal four-way of my own. I nearly messed up my intro again, but I'm not going to let it happen. I'm here to officiate, mediate, and ask these guys some questions. We're going multi-man. The first of its kind for Wrestling with Success. I have Mr. Death-defying, Mr. Canadian Destroyer, he wishes, Jack Chevrolet.
Hello.
A.K.A. Jack Walker. We have my first time, the man who I did my very first abbreviated match with, and Mr. Arin St. Louis John. This is the longest intro I've ever had to do. We have the Braun Strowman of Dropkixx. Let me take a moment to take off my glasses before I stomp you in the face, Mr. Aden Brown. And we have the first returned guest on the show, a show full of firsts. The head trainer of Dropkixx, Mr. Lucas Jackson, a.k.a. potentially Mr. Fabulous.
No, not
How are you guys this afternoon?
Very well, thank you. How are you now?
I am exhausted, I'm finished, and I'm blown up, and you guys can take over the show. How about that?
Well, we are basically all taking over.
Yeah,
practically I have my wife to protect me in the other room. That's practically it. And believe me, she would win. She would win. So, guys, let's kick things straight off. Starting with you, Jack.
Yes.
Introduce yourself into the show and how you got into wrestling.
Well, my name is Jack Chevrolet, and I started watching wrestling when I was about 6 or 7. The first match I watched was Jeff Hardy versus Rob Van Dam in a ladder match.
Is that the Invasion one?
I can't remember. It was like an old DVD that my cousin brought, and we were just watching it. And then since then, I watched it non-stop.
Yeah.
Like every night, I could get my hands on anything wrestling. I just watch and watch and watch. And it wasn't till about WrestleMania 22. I think I watched the first thing I watched live.
Yeah.
And I watched Mick Foley versus Edge.
Nice.
And since then, I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to be a wrestler. And then it took me like nearly 8 years from then to find a school.
Yeah.
I wasn't like looking hard, but it was like I just got back into it about 2011, and then since then I was like, I need to find a school, and I found a school in 2014. Since then I've been training.
Good stuff. Aaron, what about yourself?
Alright, well, my name's Arin St. Louis Jones, as you know, and the way I got into wrestling is I was my brother was really into wrestling, and when I was brought home from the hospital, it was literally like the only thing he would watch. So I would sit in the living room with him and he would watch along. And the only memory I really have is always crying when Kane would come out because his fire would just scare me. But and everybody will remember their first match, but because I watched it from so young, I can never remember my first match.
Yeah.
But I do remember my favourite match, and one of my favourite matches is the Triple Threat TLC with the Hardy Boys, Ed and Christian, and the Dudley Boys. Just because Jeff Hardy is one of my favourites. But and then early or late 2014, my brother thought it would be cool just to start like a wrestling school. So then he found Dropkixx, and then we just went along, and we stopped for a while. But then I got back into it, and then that was from doing it. That was what made me realise this is what I want to do.
Yeah. Oh, good. So Jeff Hardy beaten, going for the hat trick.
No.
Just so the listeners know, Aden is known to everyone at Dropkixx as Beeden. There's a whole story behind it, which I'm sure Lucas will delve into. But just in case you hear me call him Beeden, it's how I know him. All right, Aden is foreign to me, so foreign. So, all right, Beeden. How about yourself?
it's not really much of a story really. I remember actually round Arin's house once, and was literally we played the video game. I think the only person I knew in wrestling was John Cena.
Yeah.
And I played it. I was like, oh yeah, it's pretty cool. Checked it out. The first match I watched was Taker versus Michaels, Street versus Career. I was like,
good start.
Yeah,
solid match to start with.
Probably why I got into it because it was
all
like,
downhill from there, really.
Yeah, yeah. And then at that point, I wasn't really doing much. I needed something to do. My brother just started boxing. I thought I needed to do something as well. Arin wanted to go back into it, so I thought, why not? Had a look at local wrestling school, found Dropkixx, went there. How long ago? Like a year and 3/4 ish. And here we are today.
And Lucas, can you remember their very first times? Were you heading up things when you first met them, or?
Yep. I can remember all. Oh god, this is going to get the interesting part now. I remember all three's first sessions. Jack came to the very first Wednesday session on the 1st of February 2016, along with a lot of the other. Because Phil were closing school the week before, and Aden came first. Taylor Essex, he had come on the Sunday before. And then he had basically told all of Phil's lot that, hey, there's his place down the road, because Phil was training in Upminster at Stan's Gym, which is probably about 10-15 minutes from where Dropkixx is in Purfleet. Yeah. And Aiden attended on the Sunday, and weirdly about that as well is that Phil's schools, for the last few weeks of it at least, Brad Beck was doing the training there, and Brad Beck's a Dropkixx guy, and Brad Beck was then doing a session on the weirdly he was then doing a session on the Sunday at Dropkixx. So it all kind of linked in, and I remember Jack's first session, and like it's weird, like for me, because obviously with a lot of people coming into the school, like you go from kind of the first session, and then you kind of think about them for a little bit, because we get people who come respect for sometimes like 2 weeks and they leave and whatever. Then obviously we fast forward to it was like a few months really, where then I developed the idea where they'd all debut like the Phil's lot essentially. I think Jack came with lots of the Phil lot, to be fair, and just different levels of commitment. Really, I think they were used to the way things were done at Phil's, where people would just seem to kind of come when they want, kind of thing, and then perhaps get onto a couple of the shows that he was doing. And a couple of them, I think half of them left. But the first Wednesday session literally was just Phil's. Literally, it was basically just Phil's school, featuring some of the Dropkixx lot at the time, and then Jack stayed. So did Aden, and so did Ian, was the other one. And so that's when after a couple of months, I got developing that idea, and they all had their debut Dropkixx match anyway, against Mark Hendry, who, one of our best people.
First ever show we went to.
Was it?
Yeah, first ever show we attended live.
Oh, okay. That kind of brings it nicely into it, because Arin and Aden, their exact start date is unknown, but I've chosen the first Wednesday in March.
8th of March, isn't it?
Yeah, 8th of March, wasn't it? Yeah, second
unconfirmed day.
Yeah, unconfirmed, but it was they started, and the transformation. The thing is, of all three people sitting at the table now, like, with me in the year and a bit, has been like dramatic. Like Aden, I refuse to call him by his birth now. Aden, he came in and he was.
I've actually showed them my birth certificate.
It's fake,
and they still
it's bullshit. Aden was like the quietest person ever. Like the first time he was at the promo, and he can tell you the story.
Every time, I can't live it down.
Jeez, me and story. Like I'd never forget these things. Like his first promo, when he was just like, we said, I always use the 5 W's of who you are, who you're fighting, where it is, when it is, what's the story behind it. I mean, I give him a demonstration, and then Aden just gets up and just be like, yeah, I'm Aden Brown. And
I don't know what to say.
I don't know what to say.
That's what it was. Yeah.
But both of them, I think they were very. I think everyone, all three, to be fair, were quite nervous when they first came. And then like a few months, they were in with the banter. Yeah. And I can't, especially Aden, you can't shut up.
So I mean, what were the things when you first started out? We'll spin it round now, because I don't want to keep. We'll change the order up to keep you guys guessing. So Arin, what was the main thing you struggled with when you were training?
Fitness.
Yeah?
Yeah, because when I started, from when I started to now, I've lost quite a lot of weight. So and wrestling just training to wrestle, it helps so much to lose weight.
Yeah.
So if you are looking to like try and lose weight, wrestling is such a great start just to lose weight. But yeah, fitness was such a struggle for me because obviously in the playground, in primary school, I'd run around, blah blah, and like have those odd races, and obviously I'd never win because my fitness was.
We'll come on to that later.
My fitness was always like down, so like I couldn't really like keep up. But then obviously wrestling helped that, and now my fitness is great. So, yeah.
Oh, good. What about yourself, Jack?
Well, mainly was like getting to places because I lived nowhere near. Like, I lived an hour's drive away from Dropkixx.
And it's Chelmsford?
Yeah,
You're near me,
yeah,
aren't you? Yeah.
So that would be a 2-hour bus, or try and ask someone for a lift or get in there. So when I was first starting, I've missed a lot of. I still miss the odd thing now due to attendance.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, but I try and get there whenever I can. But it's just travel because I'm not old enough to drive, and I am now, but I can't afford the money that comes with it. So it's all building up to the fact I can't drive.
Oh, good. What about you, Aden?
The one thing I found hard was the most kind of perfecting things, because I think the actual learning part of it is relatively easy. When you think of a headlock, it's put your arm around someone's head. It's not that hard to actually learn what the move is, but to learn how to do it effectively was the hard bit, because you had to learn how every aspect of the guy you was with, what you was doing, where you were in the ring, who the crowd were. Like that was kind of hard part for me, because I could do relatively like what I was being asked, but not to the extent of like perfecting it so it looks good.
Yeah, giving a purpose behind it rather than just putting an arm around someone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what about yourself, Lucas? What would you say? Where have they progressed the most since they've come in? I mean, maybe beating his promos.
I hope so. Not a good advertisement for the school. No, to be fair, I think the main area that kind of sums a lot of everything up, what they've just said, is the confidence. I think all three have gained more confidence, which has then led to things becoming better. I think when you're not confident with something, and no matter what it is, they're always going to do better or less well at that thing. And the confidence just came like very quickly. I mean, but I think with Jack it was probably getting a couple of matches on his belt. I think that kind of helped. I think there was like a short period where there was the lot that came from Phil's school was seen as Phil's lot, and it was very much we got Phil's lot and the Dropkixx lot, and then it all kind of integrated eventually. And once they had their first match, we got a couple of matches under their belts, and there were some mistakes by myself, like booking mistakes that I'd done, which didn't benefit people at the start. I booked Aden against against Vinny, didn't I? One of the shows. And I put Jack in this weird tag match. It's probably the weirdest show that we've ever done. Actually, this time last year in Westcliff, to be fair. Well, around this time last year. And I think the confidence definitely has helped. And once, obviously, Jack had character number 2072, and once that kind of got some traction to it, that helped. In terms of Arin and Aden, I think, the confidence wise, I think obviously losing weight, Arin became more confident. I think there's always a kind of thing of you don't want to be like the fat kid at training school. Aden, he's just, I don't know, he's become this. Aden's just come in this new entity, this new thing that exists. And I can't describe it.
Like the Big Bang.
Yeah. It's fucking like it's really just night and day. I cannot stress. I really wish I filmed like that. Those initial training sessions.
I'm so happy you didn't
attended because they're so different back then. They're so different. But I think the confidence is the main thing. I think the problem. I think you have younger members. I mean, obviously we've touched a little bit upon their ages here. I don't want to make this about their age at all. But they're obviously younger members of our training squad, and obviously all three of them really are at the start of hopefully what could be a long journey in wrestling. But I think it's very hard in a way to kind of make it believable with younger people in general, because there's certain limitations that they can't do. And so, because obviously the usual advice that you're going to hear on podcasts is, get yourself to a gym, get yourself to a tanning bed, get yourself to this. But it's like when you're talking to people who are like 15, 16, 17, a lot of that stuff is not always their choice.
Yeah.
It's down to parents and people who have the money, basically, to determine obviously what you can and cannot do. And they have to go through a lot to just get half as good as most people who can do it, because a lot of people who are older, basically like yourself or some of the other people, you're at different phases of your life where you've probably got money, you've got things that you can do to improve your standings. But these guys just have to rely on basically what they learn at training. And so that's what kind of makes them usually the best people that pick things up quicker at training, because that's like their sole thing they can do. And all three of them are very good at doing it. I think Aden in particular picks up a lot of things in terms of the wrestling side of things very quickly. Though Arin at times can be a bit more gifted and natural with it. Jack's thing is more spots really. But he learned, actually Jack's main thing is he learned to slow down. As fast as he goes now, that's literally, I think, we're on about a quarter of the speed of when he first came. There's a match that stands out, again, it was only a few months ago, I think, one of my sessions, I think, when he faced Aden in a match, and it was essentially the entire New Japan show in 3 minutes. They were dead. I was giving them feedback and they were dead. It was insane. But from that, now he thinks a lot more about spots and about moves and that, which I'm happy, because it shows that obviously the training's kind of paying off. And then he's had matches on shows since then, which have been better. Yeah,
so you've all got matches under your belt now, haven't you?
Yes.
You've all had your... So, Aden, talk about your very first match. What was your kind of experience? Do you feel a little bit more apprehensive knowing that you're a lot younger and you're still at school? What was the feelings you were going through?
I was excited I didn't want to really be nervous. There was a little bit in me that was nervous, but I was like, I'm confident I know what I'm doing. My first match was actually in Gravesend, not too long ago. I had 2 rumbles before that. I think that kind of helps a little bit. It just kind of set the environment with a crowd there. But the first match I had was actually against Arin in Gravesend. And because although some people think it was a bad idea because we maybe need to face someone like more experienced, but we both kind of knew each other inside and out, wrestling wise. So it was easier if we did mess up to kind of cover it. So there was a little bit of nerves in me, but I felt more confident because I knew what I was doing. I felt comfortable with the person as well.
Cool, calm and collected, Aden. I like it.
Yeah.
And I suppose you two, you're like the Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens of Dropkixx as well. So
he was shitting it.
Well, so Arin, he's already mentioned that. Was it that your first match as well? Was both the same? So you both debuted the same match?
We both had the 2 rumbles before, and it definitely did help because it gives you that atmosphere of a crowd there, and it shows you how the crowd will react.
And I suppose not all the pressure on you at the time.
Yeah, definitely. But before the match, I was so nervous. But obviously, if you don't have nerves there, then you don't really want it. So I guess different people have different kind of nerves, but for me it was like this is my first match, like this is actually happening. And then when you get out there, it just all goes, and the adrenaline rush just kicks in, and you just try and have your best time out there. But it goes a lot faster in the ring.
I think our first match, it was meant to be around 8 minutes long, but you did have entrances in that, but I think we did about 3 minutes in the end. Because we were just so focused on getting everything in. The time was just like, there's no way of I guess it comes with experience, because we didn't have that experience. We had no sense of time in the ring. It's like, we don't have a spots now, must be the end. We had no clue how long we went.
So what about yourself then?
My first match wasn't actually in Dropkixx.
Lucas, you alright?
It was back with Phil.
Oh, right.
Was back at school. It was.
So this is before you debuted or even showed your face at Dropkixx?
Yeah, this was about nearly 2 years ago, in a few months. I think it was like October or November was my first actual match. But to be honest, I can't really remember much of it. I was against another trainee called Ash, and really what I remember of it is the final part, because it was, we all had our the finish, we knew it, and all happened is a run-in, right? Just to break everything up, just to make sure everything goes to lead on to something else in the show.
Yeah.
And all I remember was taking my first real big bump from a guy called Shane Stevens. Like, I've only bumped standing and nothing big, but he did a T-bone suplex when he just throws you above his head, and he's like, I'd say he's like 6 foot, and I was only like 14, 15 back then, so I was like 5'2", if that, and it was like, then I thought that was it. I thought my career was over straight away. I was like, this is gone. But before the match, I was nervous as anything. Like, I was shaking. I was carrying drinking a lot. But now I think about it too much.
What were we drinking?
I was like so nervous. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to prep myself. I was scared that I'd do something wrong and be like, just never be allowed back in a ring. I was just so nervous, but it turned out all right. Everything went well as I can remember. Crowd liked it from what I remember, and it went all well.
Good. So what about characters then? Now, Jack, Luke has already mentioned you've had 162 characters, and when I first came in, I think you were a masked character. You were that you were Spanish-speaking masked character. Is that right?
Yeah.
What kind of? Tell us some of your characters.
Well, back in the day when I was a young lad.
Yeah.
Fucking 2 years.
back in the
I was Jumping Jack.
Jumping Jack. Okay.
Yeah. That was made when I was walking on my first match.
Yeah.
Walking on the ring, and Phil introduced me as the 14-year-old Jumping Jack.
Okay, yeah.
And from then that was my name for about
2
half
seconds
a year.
Right,
and I came to Dropkixx, and then I was like, I had so many ideas. I was like, I'm going to be this, that, and Luke just went, just be you, go out there. And I was like, alright, yeah, that's good. And I used the name Jack Steele. I thought, that's cool. That's a cool name. And so I ran with that for a few months, and then I was like, I don't really stand out at all. This is like, I'm just another kid trying to be a wrestler. And so there was a good 2 months where I would come to Lucas every day going, I've got a list of new characters. And this would be like just the weirdest stuff.
I don't know what kind of shit this is.
Like, it's all that drinking at 14.
Yeah. 4 matches.
Terrible habit.
I mean, on the first point you mentioned about Phil calling him Jumping Jack, but that happens so often, and it's a case of where, unless obviously your character is like the Undertaker, that kind of level, and it's so well known that it's attached to you. It does happen quite often where people will go to work for other promotions or another show and just get told, right, your name's this, and you just have to make it work. And some of these little things just come up from little bits and pieces that happen. And sometimes things just stick, and if it sticks, and it's always one of those things where we find it cool, we find it funny, then perhaps other people could find it funny. That's how you got to see it.
Yeah.
In terms of character-wise, I believe that people should debut as themselves unless they've got a character, and so that's why the advice I gave for Jack was that, and it probably helped calm him down in the sense of, because it gave him one thing to think about. Obviously, the mask character was something I wanted on the show for a long time. I know it just connects with kids like very, very well, and Jack did a good job of that. For the most part, why he was that character. To Devan and Aden, like, they're still obviously discovering their characters, really.
Yeah.
But it's a very, very important part of wrestling, and I think they know that.
I don't think I'm not necessarily ready. I think maybe I'm ready for a character, but it's sort of like finding the right one, because once you've got a character, you need to invest in all gear. You got to think of all these different things you want to do, which I don't think at 15. I don't think I'm ready for that kind of decision. Some might be like a small decision, but like some gear out there, especially customized gear, it's a lot of money. So it is hard, but
I suppose you guys got the luxury of time.
Yeah.
I'm
so smug saying it. Yeah.
There's me like scratching and clawing to save every bit of time I can. You can do this for another 3 years and still be fine.
Yeah.
So talk to me about. I know, Lucas, today you've been out flyering for our next upcoming events. One at Leyden and at Westcliff, which by the time the show is going to come out would be past by now. So if you didn't get tickets, shame on you. But you've just been out flyering and doing that stuff. So do you use the guys to help you with that? And you mentioned about using them for helping the guys gain experience for that side of the business as well.
Yeah, I firmly believe that people need to have an idea of what goes into promoting a show, and the thing is, it goes all the way. I know it goes above what we do as well. Like, you know, earlier days of NXT, they were handing out flyers.
Yeah.
Like the people, Sasha Banks, all the names now of WWE, they were handing out flyers for events because it was basically like the FCW day. Sorry, like it was because it was so non-affiliated WWE. But in terms of what we do, you know, it's a case of these guys now coming into the business. Like I said, we've established they have a long time to do this, like a very long time. And at the moment, they're at the phase where, you know, they're very limited as to what they can do in terms of in ring on shows because of their age. Talking mainly about Anna being there, but they can obviously assist in other ways. And it really, as much as maybe it's not the most appreciated thing, but it goes a long way with a lot of people, and especially with like myself. Like, it goes a long way because I remember these things. You know, I remember these things when they're coming out. I mean, obviously, they come out postering for like loads of times now, and flyering, been reached the venues, all that kind of stuff.
I think it is important though, because like many people, I'm obviously not going to name names, but people who want the shows to grow will simply just say, "Oh, get a ring, get better venues."
Yeah.
But if you should know, not too much, but the fundamentals of how a show's run and how much, you know, effort is put in, how much money is spent on the show, I think it's a nice thing to have it, you understand it a lot more, and it's been great for me and Arin because it gives something to do in a way, because I'm out every Saturday, I'm out every Sunday, Wednesday night as well. We do different days, we do Fridays and stuff like that. So always out on the weekend doing either postering or doing something. Yeah. So
keeps you out of trouble.
Yeah. Keeps them out of jail. Or like in this area, or there.
Yeah.
Not so much we're recording this podcast, but I think they get this understanding of obviously what goes into the show. Like, it's more than just like getting a venue, getting a ring and just like showing up.
And people manage to come.
You know, and they picked up. You know, I'm trying to teach them stuff that can help them in the future as well. And I mean, I think, you know, a promoter will always look highly on someone who helps out, and you know, whether it's, you know, again, not just posting wise, they've helped out on shows, like they've done music. You know, they've sold backstage passes, been done in the shop.
Like perfect example is like Flip Gordon. Was you there for Flip Gordon?
Yeah, Flip Gordon.
Yeah, Flip Gordon, and he was saying that he made it to Ring of Honor in 2 years, and he helped out. Like, even when he wasn't asked, just showed up and just helped out with the ring. Yeah, and that guy did that and made it Ring of Honor in 2 years. Yeah, I guarantee his ability did help, but I don't think it would have got that far if he didn't do all the things.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think there is also that thing where my belief is that you should always try to be a nice person anyway.
Yeah, of course.
Try and be helpful, and it's one of those resources that you know. I think it goes a long way. Like, as much as people aren't going to thank you for every little thing, and that's something which you have to just deal with in life. Like, people just don't. People in general will give you more bad feedback than good feedback. You know, that's just life. But in terms of this, like, people, it does build up with people, I believe, anyway. And you know, Arin obviously doesn't like sellotape, but he's learning the ways. You know, they learn to love their sellotape and understand how it works. It'll make the days very much quicker.
Luke can put up a poster in like 6 seconds.
Honestly,
if there's a world record for it, he
would have got it. So, I mean, one thing that really like blows my mind is you guys have had matches, and you're still in school. You guys, Jake, are you still in school?
I'm in college.
You're in college.
Yeah.
Now, if I was in school and if I had a wrestling match, I couldn't help but go into school the next day walking like Wolf of Wall Street, just kind of music playing as I was walking down the halls.
What was you doing every weekend? Oh, I'm just having a wrestling match.
What's that like, juggling school and actually training as well, but with wrestling? Are you known as the wrestling guy at school? Or do you try and keep it under wraps?
It's horrible because I think, especially now, wrestling is such a bad name. Oh, it's gay. Oh, it's fake. So, if someone's like, no, I've got training. Oh, what training?
Yeah.
Oh, wrestling.
Yeah, you kind of.
You do that. So it can be seen as a good way, because it's a good way to tell if people care or not. If you mention it and people go, "Oh, what's that?"
Yeah.
It shows people. If people just go, "Oh, don't care, it's fake, whatever."
Yeah.
But there's ups and downs to it. So because it gives you a lot more experience, like just in life in general. But I don't think. It's a weird one, because I think people see it as not a real sport in a way.
Yeah.
It's not like doing football or rugby or something. Yeah.
Have you had any big injuries where you've had to go into school the next day with it, or anything there?
First day was the hardest going the next day.
Well, that was the first day of training.
Yeah. He had like 3 days off doing calf raises.
we done 150 calf races.
I chose the number.
Yeah, we chose the number. Yeah, we done 150, and I don't know why. Like, it was just like, let's just do this challenge, and then just suddenly the next day my calves were just so tight. Like, I just couldn't move.
2 days off school.
But it's more like marks you get as well. Like when I was in a rumble and done with Brett Meadows. And he
I was there.
And he decides like I was going to chop people, and then you go into school and like. Because it's just massive red all up your body and slightly in your neck. Like, where have you been? It's like, weekend job.
I'll tell you, the worst one was when I first on the Sunday session. It's a 4-hour session for someone who'd never done training before. 4 hours is a long time.
Yeah.
So I remember coming in next day. I remember I had history. first and second.
It's the worst.
This is A. I want to think.
Yeah.
This might be or year 9, something like that. When we were walking down, sat down, and when I tried to get back up again, didn't work. I let my legs seize up. I was like, oh my god.
That's how my calves were.
Couldn't even get up there.
It must be difficult, obviously, I think. I mean, when I first ever Dropkixx session, I was in year 11, actually. That would have been January. We were back about this on the previous one.
Yeah.
Touch either. No watching it. But yeah, I mean, I would have been in that same situation. There was that whole kind of thing of like, I do actually remember saying to Ilsey, Dan Hills, I said to him, like, fuck, like, what if actually like one of us gets injured or whatever? We have to go, both our mums, literally, like, there was, I mean, obviously, even though I used to be a bit naughty back in the school days and perhaps truant on occasion, like, I knew in particular, because I had done that activity, that there was no chance I'd be able to get off like scot-free with it, doubly. And there's a whole kind of stigma of shit, like, well, I do get hurt and I'll come to school the next day. And similarly, when we returned, I was in college for a little bit as well. Not 2 months, but I was in college for a little bit. But yeah, this lot. The thing is, I think it helps make them better because they get used to like a routine, I guess. Yeah. And when they get bigger in wrestling, they should get used to having a routine that involves gym, tanning, eating, eating, food, and then obviously having shows and stuff on the weekends and that. So I guess it could help in that extent.
So guys, what are the main things? We'll start with you, Jack.
Yep.
What's the main things you're looking to achieve within the next 2 years?
In the next 2 years, I want to make it a regular thing. So at least Saturday and Sunday, got a match.
Yeah.
So regular bookings.
Yeah.
Regular paid bookings, making sure I'm not earning like just earning enough money to say I can do this part time. It's like a good, healthy thing for me to do. Yeah.
Oh, good. Arin?
So realistically, in the next 2 years, it'll be my 3rd year. So I don't expect, obviously, like too much. I guess I don't expect Jack's level, like part time. Every weekend. But I do expect to have had have had that couple of matches and have a couple of those matches that I'm really proud of, and then obviously have those matches that I can watch back and think, okay, so I can work on that and I can work on that. So obviously you're always learning. So there's never going to be a time where you think there's nothing else to learn, because then this isn't the sport for you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Very good point. Baden?
Just wrestling every weekend, I think. By that stage, I think I've learned what I need to relatively. I would have got bigger by then. Hopefully 2 years. maybe I'll find things. Yeah, so I should look a lot better then. Hopefully by then I would have got my name out and made a good name for myself and reputation. So I think I can do it. 2 years is a long time.
You've got plenty of time ahead of you.
I think, I think Arin's underselling it. I think Arin could achieve more than what he's just said. I think Beden's a bit over. I think that the good thing obviously now is that yes, there are loads of young wrestlers out there, but then the bad thing is there are loads of young wrestlers out there.
Yeah.
And all three of them are going into situations where their novelty of being a good young wrestler is no longer novelty
because everyone else does it.
Everyone else is young.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to compete against these other people because it will just be a case of
who can flip.
Well, not necessarily just flips, but just who's the best suited for that role, and there's so many people vying out for it. I get as a page, Dropkixx page, and people have on Facebook and that. Get so many messages from people, and it's always I'm 16, and I've had 16, and I've had a year's training, and I want a match, and I want to branch out, and they'll all be entering that same market. It's criminal. It's fucking criminal here though. We're talking 2 years. I haven't beaten. They'll be 17.
That's scary. That goes to show that it's like Lucas and I were mentioning earlier about how that at Dropkixx it's a kind of weird kind of time warp. You don't really realise people's age. Everyone just kind of seems like the same age. When really it's hard to understand that you guys are still in school. It's actually so surreal and mind blowing. The fact
in a weird way, I do think it is quite weird, right? But I think I speak to Lucas probably the most, out of anyone. How old are you, Lucas? If I don't mind you asking, 29.
Yeah.
I'm 15. Right. I think we're all in the same environment. We'll kind of talk to each other all the time, so I think people forget it. Because everyone's so mature. Sometimes things happen in group chats and that, but no, I think because we spend so much time together and people know each other, people just look past it.
Yeah.
So we've got some fan. I say fan questions. I've spoken to some of the trainees and I've got some questions here. Right. Well, first of all, I'm going to kick off with this one. This is. I'm not going to say who it's from.
Right.
The message is, "Hi mate, I understand Beden's on the show.
Here we go.
Can you ask him about our race?" How it felt to lose after hyping himself so much, and why he didn't follow through with his side of the bet.
Do some ice speed.
And if Lucas can just provide some clarification of what this bet was and what this
I'll give you the real story.
The real story was it was very, very simple. Beden for a long time in our Dropkixx group chat was changing his name to the Faster Than Dropkixx. And this was after I think he had beaten Aden in a race.
I've beaten everyone.
At Jump Giants.
Beaten everyone.
And then we had basically it got to the point where we kept saying we can't do that. We have a fair race where everyone can enter and see who wins. And they got to a point where at the last Baldwin show, it all came to head where we had a race and majority of people I'd say in Dropkixx were involved in that race.
It's a lot of people.
And Beden basically said that. I mean, it was a bet part of this, which I won't go into the bet part, but it was literally a thing where Beden was obsessed where he would win that race. And Beden came third. And it was just the funniest thing ever because it wasn't even close. I'd even have to say that he might have even come fourth.
You were a little bit in front of me, and I think
it was literally Vinny won outright. That was absolutely clear. Will came second. Will Harper, who is actually Jack's tag partner, Will Harper, he came second. And then between let's say third and sixth, there was literally about 3 or 4 people who literally could have been one foot in front of the other. I mean, Tamara unfortunately recorded it in a weird way, so it's hard to see who crossed the line first. But Aden at best came third, but maybe even come fourth.
Now let me give you the real scoop. So I was pretty confident myself with Vinny being Vinny, chatting on shit, and then I see him as I'm walking out just for his car. He's injecting this substance into his arm. I didn't remember what it was. I thought originally I didn't think much of it. Yeah, he then started jumping around, and I saw a little bit of white powder on his nose. I couldn't remember what it was though. He said he's been baking a cake. I just took his word for it. So then we go into the race, and he actually undoes my shoelaces. So when I run, my shoes fell off, of course, and so he beat me.
To be fair, I did see them.
Yeah, exactly.
This sounds criminal. You've been.
And then there was a betting bot. He kind of put it on me, but I was like, fair enough. Bet's a bet. And the bet was if I beat him, then I beat him on a show. And if he won, if he beat me, then I'd be his sidekick at Brentwood.
Yeah.
So
and were you his sidekick at Brentwood?
Let me give it. So I was like, okay, right. I must do it, right. Brentwood comes around. I didn't hear anything from anyone. I didn't say. I think everyone forgot it for the most part. And then suddenly at Brentwood was like, oh, you're not doing this super sidekick thing. What gear am I supposed to do it in? Well, no one told me about this. So I don't know. Just for me to Vinny, go fuck yourself.
I mean, all I can say is at the moment, Vinny is on like a break from active wrestling, but I think we definitely have a match for him when he does decide to come back.
His wife lets him off the leash.
I think though, Bean, you have got to be careful not to write checks with your mouth that you're asking. As I've said, he came just to clarify. He came at least third.
So who came second?
Will.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, no, fair enough. I mean, I wasn't in that race, but
Neither was I.
I'm not going to say anything, but I would have definitely beaten you, Beaten.
Oh, to be fair, I've lost all hope now.
If this was a video podcast, I would race you right now. We can verbally race.
I think we really got to do like a table for 3 kind of thing.
Yeah,
we got to do something like that. That would really be a good idea.
Yeah,
just to put it out there.
No, that's good. I'm open to anything and everything. So right, Beaten.
Yes.
Who was the wrestler you wanted to be the most like? Who was your kind of like? That's who I'm going to try and be like. And it's
the man I want to be.
Braun Strowman.
James Ellsworth.
I actually wanted to come out. I actually wanted to come out to Dropkixx music in my first.
Yeah.
Yeah. When the music come on, and I come out, and people say it's me.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't been watching wrestling for long, but I want to be AJ Styles. Like I don't look up to him. I want to be AJ Styles. Yeah. That man is someone else. But I look up to him because he's just good at everything in wrestling. There's nothing that he's not good at.
Yeah.
Like he walked in WWE and like 2 seconds later he's got the championship, beating everyone. He's doing all these cool moves that no one see. He's a guy for me. I inspire the most too.
Yeah. Jack.
I think I've got to pick mine as Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
Like I remember I watched him first about 2 years ago, just after I started training, and I just thought he was like the coolest wrestler on the planet. His whole thing was he brings like video game moves into the ring. And I was like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Like, cause I think his finisher at the time was a move from Street Fighter, where we'd have him on his shoulder, throw him off his shoulder, and catch him in the German suplex, like all one motion. And it was first time I saw it, I thought it was like the coolest move ever. And I was like, it's so cool. And since then, I've been aspired to be like him. He's like a wrestling role model, in my opinion.
Oh, good. Arin?
I'm sort of a weird one because obviously I've started watching it with my brother. So obviously I grew up with kind of his opinion influenced me because obviously he's the older brother. So whoever he liked, I liked.
Yeah.
But obviously my brother liked like a whole bunch of wrestlers. So I never really had that one wrestler that stood out. So even now I still don't have a wrestler that I can say I want to be him. I do have a favourite wrestler, Jeff Hardy, but I don't really have a wrestler that I can say they've influenced me. And Yeah.
No, fair enough. So, you guys, it's fan time. Dropkixx trainees.
Yeah.
It's fan time. And Ben, you look really excited about it. He was waving his arms in. Right, so did you guys watch SummerSlam last night?
Unfortunately, yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I only watched the first hour.
Oh,
That was the worst.
That was the worst. I was like,
Definitely was
I
the
watched
worst
it and
hour.
I thought, not for me.
No.
So I turned it off.
What was your favourite match?
Main event.
It was really the main event, wasn't it?
That was the best match of the year, probably.
I haven't seen the main event yet. I've still got to watch it.
That's the only good thing. Do you know who won it?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to break a spoiler down here
no,
on live on the
no,
show. Damn,
Actual
missed
shock.
opportunity.
I think my favourite match was the SmackDown tag team match.
The pre-show one. Yeah,
Was that the
we
pre-show?
didn't watch
Yeah, I
that.
didn't get-
We
we
didn't watch
didn't
pre-show.
watch that.
Every time we do it, it's always
Really good.
Was there was like 15 people in a crowd or something like that?
Yeah.
No,
50.
because it was an hour-long pre-show.
Yeah.
It started at...
Well, 2 hour long pre-show.
2 hours, sorry, 2 hours.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. He's
It's like
got
10.
It started at 10.
Yeah.
So, like, by the time I think it was Hardy's, tag match,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just no one was there. But by the time,
They had trouble getting them in again. I don't know how a big company that does this, but I think the same happened. Was it one of the Manias?
Yeah, Mania last
Yeah,
year.
last year when they had trouble selling the tickets for it. A similar thing apparently happened last night, or whatever.
Yeah.
I think personally it's bollocks because they just no one wants to admit they're doing
No one wants to
pre-show.
watch
And your man, Mr. Jinder Mahal, retained as well. You've got a soft spot for Jinder, haven't you?
I'm calling it right now. Jinder Mahal is within the top 5 best WWE champions of all time.
Oh!
Whoa!
Wow.
There we are. I've dropped it. Literally.
He's a joke.
No.
He's
No, he's
He's
not
a
a joke.
joke.
I'll give it to you
He's a
though.
joke.
He is good.
Tell you what,
He is good.
it would have worked
Because
if
end of the day, everyone speaks about him.
Yeah.
And honest to God, can you remember one and the last champion that everyone literally speaks about? Even if it is that you think he's shit, you still think about him. And that's what
Yeah,
they've got.
because he was a joke.
They've got your money. No, but they've got your
Yes,
money
but-
because you're watching every single month to hope he loses.
I don't.
Literally.
Like, I never watch wrestling and go, oh, I hope Ginger loses, because I don't care. I don't care about the belt, because he's not a good wrestler, in my opinion. When I'm watching him, I feel like I'm not involved.
Oh,
I'm
no,
not-
he's a shit wrestler.
Like,
He's
story
a shit
to it.
wrestler. He's a shit wrestler, but as a heat magnet. In terms of that vocal portion of fans, all like, oh, we don't think he's any good. Like, we're going to boycott, hashtag boycott W Network. But then they're going to buy the next event to hope him lose.
Yeah.
And they trolled everyone at SummerSlam because they had literally the internet darling Shinsuke Nakamura, who I think is literally the most overrated person on WWE roster at the moment.
No,
another
no.
bombshell.
They had
No,
him.
you can't say that.
He
He's
is.
not overrated.
He's overrated.
He's proved himself. Like, you
Where?
watch Japan. He's got like
The world.
But no one cares about Japan.
I care about Japan.
In WWE circles, no one cares about Japan. Like, it's just a case of, you wrestle in Japan, but now you're in WWE, you do what we say.
Yeah, but he didn't just wrestle in Japan. He like dominated Japan.
Yeah.
It means nothing to WWE fans. No one knew who he was.
No one knew who he was.
No one knew who he was before.
The reaction when he first
showed
came
up.
out.
It's true.
The reaction when he first came out.
Yeah, in NXT.
And it's they'll
And it's his own little universe, isn't it?
But when he first come out, even when on the main roster,
All
people
with
fought
Jacks
for
in the crowd.
it. To be fair,
And I do like him, but the thing is, they trolled everyone by making him face Jinder
it
at
was a shit
SummerSlam.
match though. It was just a copy and paste of all the rest of it.
Yeah.
It's one of the matches that I'm glad I didn't watch.
Yeah, no, it was a shit match.
I just can't.
Mainly the finish, because the finish was the same as all the other one.
It's just only you can do.
If they took Jinder Mahal before, if they didn't do the first stint with him and they just employed him when they did now, he would look. It would be a lot better, but because he was a jobber before, that takes away every bit. Because he beat him up by Finn Balor in 2 minutes before before he was moved to SmackDown, and then dominated everyone.
And he had a stiff forearm that match
Yeah.
as well. He's
Yeah.
not even got
Yeah.
any heat for it. If anything, he got promoted for it.
Yeah.
What about the whole Baron Corbin thing?
Oh, buried.
Oh, I bet he's.
It's terrible.
He's not buried.
I think it's a bit too harsh
Yeah.
because
I didn't see the Twitter comments.
his
He
character
fucked himself.
basically he took the piss out of someone.
in the army, didn't he?
He didn't know. He just went, "Yeah, you look stupid. Who are you calling out?" And then he was like, "Oh yeah, I've just come back from my 8th tour of Afghanistan." Like Vincent Mann didn't think I looked like. I think he said that he looks like an idiot or something.
Yeah.
And then his picture of him with Vincent Mann in his uniform, and then instantly since then he's just lost the Money in the Bank. He's lost at SummerSlam. He's just done something bad.
He's seen it though, and seen it was always going to win.
Yeah, sure.
Well, my SummerSlam. This is his first SummerSlam.
Yeah.
2010, isn't it?
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
no, yeah.
Yeah, but then he screwed over like Sting like last few years ago, didn't he?
No, it was
Triple H. Never faced Sting.
No, but the Rollins thing.
Yeah.
Then he suplexed Rollins before Sting.
He's
got involved in at some point.
Yeah, US title and WWE championship.
Oh, but yeah, Cena was a match before though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't like in that match.
Yeah.
You know, he's not in every match. He is just God, but you know, like, he can't win every match. He's gonna be that good. I mean, the thing is, you talk about the product though. It's just what it is, though, isn't it? I mean, like, it's end of the day, it was always the reason why anyone usually attend a training school, especially younger members, because it's always the introduction to wrestling is through WWE and their product. And so, and that's again what makes people so passionate about it. Either way, like people say they hate it, but then they still watch or attempt to watch parts of SummerSlam. Like a lot of the people that hate, you know, quote unquote, hate WWE, like hate it with passion and say you're not going to watch, not going to watch, not going to watch, not going to watch. But something will always entertain people about the cars they do. Yeah. Because they have, again, at the heart of it, it's still they've got the best roster in the world. So it's like, well, why wouldn't you be interested in something that they're doing over a weekend where they're offering like something ridiculous?
And that
how many hours was
it as well?
6 hours.
How many hours?
That's
was
the
6
whole
hours
plus
NXT the night before.
That's a whole school.
And that NXT show was incredible as well.
Yeah, you have NXT, SummerSlam. Now we have Raw today, tomorrow, NXT next day, 205 Live as well.
Much, man.
There's a lot, isn't it?
Not much 205 Live though.
Yeah, but it's on.
Even the crowd, like.
Didn't they regain the title as well?
Yeah,
in a free show or something.
Yeah, all the titles change hands apart from the main two.
Because Intercontinental wasn't.
Intercontinental wasn't defended. You know, US didn't. What?
US defended. AJ
won.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What about your favourite moves that you want to have? What is the move that your golden move that you want to perform? What would be yours?
Just say it.
I have the question. What's yours, Arin? Arin, I'm looking at the wrong person.
I don't really have a move that I really want to do. Like, for me, what I would do is I'd go on YouTube and I'd search like best professional wrestling moves, or just watch sequences, and I'd pick up moves from there that I think, like, if I'm watching it, and it would make me like pop in my room. Like, they are the moves that I would want to try and do, and try and perform to hopefully make the crowd pop. Yeah.
I'm going to go with you. You're itching.
Yeah, like I'm looking at like my favourite move is my finishing move.
Yeah.
I use the Shining Wizard.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, I think that's one of the just coolest moves in wrestling because, in my opinion, I can do it to anyone.
Yeah, true.
It looks brutal. It looks like a finish, and I think anyone can do it as well. No matter what your size is, no matter what your gimmick is, it's just always going to look like a brutal move. And it's so many different ways to do it, so many different ways to set it up.
Yeah.
I think it's just so cool.
Good, Aden?
I've always shooting star press. That's because I think I don't know because there's something about it. I think like.
Have you landed one? Have you done
it? The thing is,
you never on the top rope.
Yeah,
once.
That's the move that I want. That's what I want to do most. But my favourite move, I don't have a favourite move. There's not one move that stands out for me. I don't think. If there was, it'd probably be a DDT, just because of
BDT.
Well, like
BDT. Brilliant.
It's just like it's a finishing move. If you have someone like do like finish to the leg or something, that's not going to hold someone down. But if you pick someone's head up and drive it into the mat, that's a finishing move. I think that's probably my favourite. But yeah.
Well, is there any moves, Lucas, that you just hate? Well, absolutely. Like you see that everyone, you see all the trainees wanting to do and everything, and you always kind of any moves that are banned for trainees. What's the main ones? The top couple there.
The worst move that's ever been invented, that's ever been done, that's ever going to be done, by far, is the Canadian Destroyer. I cannot stand that move. I just cannot stand it. I think as well, the problem I have that move is that it's never fucked off. Like, it was popular, literally, when I first started in Dropkixx, it was popular back then. And then it died a little bit, then it got popular again because Petey Williams came back to TNA or whatever, maybe a couple of years later. And then it got popular again, like last year, and it's just like, fuck off. Like, I mean, it just really irritates me, and everyone knows it. Everyone knows me. I think about that move. It really irritates me. I don't buy into knees so much as finishers. Shining Wizard I've always seen more as like an enziguri kind of thing, or more like
it's a weird mix, isn't it?
Like a hybrid of the two. But I don't buy into knees as finishers. I think
there's a lot of knees nowadays.
Yeah,
but
surely knees are replacing kicks now.
It'd
be knees and flips now, not kicks and flips.
But it's again, like, that's a finishing move, isn't it? If someone knees you in the head,
it's a knockout.
Point, yeah.
So,
is that like any knee move? So GTS, is that in the same?
No, like the knees is in like mainly like running knees, and I think what it is for me is like a case of I don't want anyone at the gym just to be a carbon copy of what's in WWE. Yeah. And so obviously Dan O'Brien, that was obviously probably the most over babyface of the past 10 years. And the amount of people who have come to me saying, "Oh, can I do the way knee?" It's like, well, no, because literally people always think you're like a shit on O'Brien.
Beat it, Dan.
And now for years it was a fucking RKO as well, like. Literally, and the RKO's of the move with literally it won't go away either, because you get people doing it now. We've got the Oz cutter, which is just a springboard version of it. You're soon going to have people doing it on the just like lying down, just somehow they find a way just to just lying down, roll them over. RKO. Like I don't know. I mean, wrestling goes through phases though, isn't it? It goes through phases, but yeah, definitely the main one. That I don't like is Name Destroyer.
You don't know pile drivers it is though, do you? Not really.
Yeah, I find the moves too dangerous. I think, especially for our level of shows, and what I'm trying to get through to especially to a lot of the younger members, is that on this level show, necessarily it's not about the moves. Like the only people that come for the moves per se are like yourself and the boys in the back. Whereas our crowd, they're there just to see the characters, see people they like, and
cheer and boo.
Yeah,
it's a show, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as people get bigger, and obviously as people get further up in their wrestling journey, then fair enough.
That's what places with Progress and like PWG are for. It's for all the smart
spots and stuff.
Because that's what they're into.
I think a lot of it literally gets lost. I mean, it really gets lost. Like, the only people that pop for stuff like the Trainee Destroyer are the boys in the back. But a lot of people don't know the move. A lot of actual people come to the shows wouldn't know necessarily the move.
Yeah.
They see it as he's flipped.
Yeah.
I also hate any move that looks like it hurts the other person more than the person doing it more. Which I hate Spanish Fly as well. I think it looks beautiful. But I would question like.
Surely they're both taking the same.
They're both taking the same impact.
So that's the same one with the superplex. I think it's.
It doesn't look real.
In my personal, I think it's one of the worst moves in wrestling because you're taking the same bump.
If you do it right,
he's a little bit higher.
You can do it and get over the guy, so the guy lands, and then you can put your feet over him. But that takes doing. There is a way to do it. There's ways around it, but
I mean, just the basic moves really. Just all it is an elbow drop or a leg drop. Whatever suits you, whatever suits your needs.
Says I don't think so. Lucas can do it.
But one thing I started doing, Arin, you said about looking on YouTube for moves and stuff. What I started to do, I don't play computer games as much as I used to. I would if I could, but I've kids. I got a WWE 2K. And I thought I'll go through every single move.
I've done the same.
And I got through, and there's only so many variations of like the FU you can watch, and you end up getting so bored about it. But there's so many as well. But I tried doing that, but I'd recommend that for people. It's just kind of flick through. I thought I was the only one.
2K, wasn't it?
Yeah. Someone did it the other day as well. Someone did it on SummerSlam, didn't they?
The time you've done it.
Oh yeah. Sorry, NXT, yeah. By the way, we have a theory that WWE literally watch our training.
Yeah, they do.
Because things happen on WWE within the week of them happening on training. It is scary the amount of stuff.
What's some examples? Give us some examples.
I done a swinging neck breaker fisherman kind of thing.
It sounds good.
and I done it a week before the Raw episode that I was watching, and I was messaging Lucas at the time. And then Elias Sampson was on the screen, and I think he had a match against Adoro, I think. And his finish was the exact same move.
Yeah.
And I was messaging Lucas, I was like, he's just... They watch our training.
They do.
And it's not even just that, and it's happened before and before, so it's like...
You're moving next, Jack.
Something coming in, you're just Shining Wizard.
Xavier Woods did it 3 times in one match.
What move?
In the tag team, Shining Wizard.
Oh no, I mean your other move, the GTS thing you do.
Yeah, that's
it's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming. Vince listening.
I do a spinning GTS, so I get them on my shoulders, but instead of throwing them over my head, I'll spin them round.
Okay,
and bring my knee up.
It's unique. It's good.
Yeah, it's unique. I think it's handy to have unique things though.
Vince has written it down.
But it's definitely
it's on the list.
it's definitely getting taken.
Our theory is that they watch it off of your Facebook channel.
Trust me, if we hear someone say they're going to backhand someone back into the kitchen, line of the fucking year.
I could have cried that session.
That was a promo session, and that was Silas. Silas, Joshua James, who basically he was put up against Tamira, and let's put it this way, he was going to give us some permanent eyeshadow,
hair extensions,
rip out those hair extensions, and backhand her to the kitchen where she belongs.
Best line ever said.
And he did very well.
I mean, let's not take away that it is sexist.
What we wanted to do is start off instead of going, it's Tammy time. 2017 guys.
So I've gone a blank again. Well, I'll just have a drink. So guys, is there any social medias or anything? There's a lot of you here, alright, so we could go through everybody's Twitter and stuff, but are you happy for listeners to follow you on your journeys as well, and me to share all your stuff?
I encourage it.
You encourage it?
Followers.
if you've got your social medias, give them a shout out now.
Oh my god, how many you got? It's just Instagram, Aden_Brown_, Facebook's just Aden Brown, Snapchat, Aden_Brown13, that's my Snapchat. Add my Snapchat. That's the main thing.
Alright, so what was it again?
Aden_Brown13.
Aden_Brown13. Arin?
I guess you can add my Snapchat with
Snapchat. These are the kids these days. It's all Snapchat with these kids.
It is the main thing.
It's LILAJ12.
There you go, there's Arin's.
Follow me on Twitter at JackWalker321.
Follow me on
3, 2, 1.
Follow me on Tumblr.
Happy on Bevo.
BBM, mate, not BBM pin.
What about any shout outs, guys?
Brother, his birthday last week.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Beaton's brother.
Yeah.
Shout out to that ball.
Shout out on that ball.
Is he a Sedan or
No, he's a spitting image of him.
If he ever was to somehow
the world would
join,
explode if there was two businesses.
his name is Sedan.
Yeah.
I'm waiting
Should
for
we
the day.
train him and just do like a twin magic?
So is he younger?
Yeah, he's 20 months.
Oh wow! Well, he's really younger then, isn't he?
No.
We'll come up glass. No, he's 20 months younger than you. Year below or something.
Yeah, but I'm waiting for the day when another Aden walks in, and literally the first day, an Aden says, "Hi, my name's Aden." No, sorry, it's Sedan. That's the first thing.
Yeah, but you don't have the authorization to do that.
No, but everyone knows it's going to happen. Everyone's going to.
He'll be Beaton. You'll be Sedan.
I'll get it down.
So is that why you're Beaton? Just to clear it up for the listeners.
Literally, it was. I think it was like. It was about 1 month in, I think.
Yeah.
Like 1 month in, 2 months in. Because everyone was calling Aden, because already Aden Taylor Essex was there. His name's Aden, obviously. And everyone called Aden, and we both turned around. All the time this happens. So I think it was Mark Hendry. Don't quote me, but I think it's Mark Hendry.
I thought it was Vinny.
You thought it was Vinny?
No, it was Mark.
Yeah, I think it was Mark. And he was like, as a joke, let's just call him Beaton. Ever since the word Beaton come out of his mouth, never called. Literally, we went to LDN in Brighton.
Yeah.
Everyone, this is Beaton. Everyone thought this is Beaton.
Yeah.
So it's just.
It's not nice when you got given a different name, is it?
Yeah.
But like you, isn't it? You mentioned you and Nigel.
Yeah.
My name spelled weird anyway. I don't have an I in it.
Yeah,
Aden.
Spoiler alert, my real name is actually Aden.
No.
It's spelled A-D-E-N.
No.
Aden.
Yeah.
It's just so.
I just get the weird look as well. Like, Beaton. What?
I'm used to it now, though. It
Yeah,
sounds like such a cool name
Literally
now.
stuck.
I'd keep it, make it unique.
Yeah, I'll legally change it. I would legally change it. Because no one's ever going to call you Aden.
It's done a double meaning.
The only one person that calls me Aden is Ilzy, and that's because you get confused.
Yeah.
That's literally the only time, only by confusion. That's
You're beating to everyone.
time.
You're beating to everyone.
I'm never going to be down. Never.
Yeah, you're beating to everyone.
Didn't Red Eagle call you Beaton?
I don't know, he might have.
Yeah, I think he did.
Cause what I do is I introduce everyone as hi, I'm Aden, and then Lucas go around, oh, that's Aden.
Because it just can't get out of that. So he had that, that fake name that he starts to make up. Like, it can't get out. The thing is, this just goes to show the level of just fans that we have a job. People get renamed, they come in and get renamed. So any shout out to any parents basically, if you don't like the name that you gave your child, send them away to Dropkixx. We're based
give them a new name
and we will rename them.
We're not boys.
It won't leave. It won't leave. But I mean, I'll just say, to sum everything up that we spoke about, like on the most part, these are three of the youngest kind of wrestlers, trainees at the academy, who come week in, week out. More so, I think. But again, I always appreciate, respect. I mean, Jack, yesterday, he got home at something like 6 o'clock, and by that point, I was already in. Already halfway through doing a show in LDN in Margate, and he'd literally just gone home from training. You got the bus. You got the bus back. I was unaware that was happening yesterday. I thought he had a lift, but he didn't. And I know he tried his best to obviously attend, and obviously a lot of the people, obviously Arin and Aden, had the very, very luxury, which I don't think they quite realise just yet. But I think it's a kid thing though. You don't until you don't need to, because literally they live within 10 minutes of the training.
We could front row too.
Yeah. Arin in particular, I tell you, when I found out where this guy lived, I was like, how are you always late? You would literally walk down. I must give a shout out to Essex Chef. That's to mention food, isn't it? Like Essex Chef in Aveley. If anyone's ever in that area, seriously, you need to go. It will change your life. But it changed my life on Wednesdays. I'm like, I have to pick up Tom Tentamera. That's where I end up before training. See me but yeah, they all work hard, and it's important that that's noted, and that doesn't get forgotten. All the other stuff we've said today. They work very hard, they train, very hard as well, and they're people who hopefully within the next few years on a bigger scale you'll be seeing lots more of. In terms of their Dropkixx journey, it's a case of continuing where they're at the moment, and in particular there's different concerns of each three of them, but the luxury they have is time, which it's criminal here where we can say, I could turn around to any one of them now and say, right, you're not going to show for a year, and they'd be angry and upset and annoyed, but still they're looking at the fact that they're still all going to be under 18 by the time that kind of ban was to end or whatever. It's not. It's still going to be young is what I'm getting at. Whereas other people obviously, don't have that luxury, which you don't see as luxury yet. But trust me, when you get to, you're about saying
28. 29 next month.
Exactly. Yeah. When you get to our age, boys,
you can just decide to be Lucas and just be 29 forever.
Oh yeah. We're having the Dropkixx end of year party, which will also be my 30th.
Be a four-way birthday party.
The initial, alleged 30th birthday party, but it's not happening.
So just be 29 again.
I'll be 29 again. I don't give a shit. But yeah, that and obviously they're three assets of the academy, and obviously long may it continue. And there's others like them as well. A lot of younger members, as you probably know yourself, Nigel, from all the from the training sessions you've seen. There's lots of young members. And
shout out to Nino, Zander, and Leland.
Absolutely, mate.
I can't wait till they're at that age where I can get them on the podcast and it not be weird.
It's weird though, because isn't Nino 14, 15?
Yeah.
But you can't tell that because they're all like the same. But no, they're really, really, really good. And
for the age, it's crazy.
Yeah, obviously they're very much spot minded, and that's cool. But they
can do it. It works.
Yeah,
they can do it. So
they still put things in the wrong order. That's usually their problem, but it's something which can be worked on.
If they've got time, better than us. No, but shout out though. It might look like soppy side, but shout out to Lucas Jackson, man. Nice. It's true though, because I never really realised it until I started doing poster and that this company puts his life into it.
Definitely.
Invest so much. People take it for granted. Like to touch on earlier, people just say, "Oh, get a ring. Oh, do this, do that." But then get over it. But this man puts up all the posters. He goes out of his way to post the whole of Essex from London.
The whole of Essex.
He lives in London. He's travelling to Essex on Wednesdays. in London, like it's just rush hour every day. Like it's not rush hour. So yeah, shout out to Lucas Jackson, man.
Yeah.
My G.
It's because he knows he needs a lift home. That's it.
He's my boss. Please put me Lucas Jackson. Please.
All right, so Lucas, just ending this, just for the listeners, as there is some sort of journey that I am on. What is your thoughts on my progress since your last time on the show?
Yeah,
on the spot.
Yeah, what was it? The first time I was on the show would have been about a month or two ago. I guess it's been quite a lot of these, haven't there?
But was this 11 or?
It's 11. 11. Honestly, it feels like I've been doing this for about 3 years.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah, in a good way, yeah.
But then like, I'm at 11, I think, man, 11.
But you see, like Joe Rogan, he has like thousands.
I know, exactly. Yeah, that's where I want to get to. I thought it was going to be a lot quicker.
No, in terms of yourself, obviously, we briefly discussed it the other day, but I'll just expand on what I've said because, again, I like to be transparent with people. Like what I've said to Niall is, it's my belief that a lot of the skills are kind of there. We are in a state now where we've debuted a lot of people over the past few months, and it's a case of I am holding back on some people because my thing is I want to keep the product fresh for as long as possible. And there's some changes, some very exciting change happening on the next few shows. I know this is obviously going out after Westcliff, which we will be already in the phase of starting something brand new in the Chaos Start division, something brand new in the Tag division is about to happen at the next show in Malvern, 24th September. Tickets available now. That's September 24th, Malvern, and we've got a new story going on in both. Well, basically every single belt we have is having new stories, completely new people, completely new scenarios. Everything that people thought they knew about Dropkixx and who they thought about is going to be turned upside down its head. That's literally all I can't say much more. In terms of yourself, it's a case of like how we fit you into that is a case of you fit the fresh brand, you fit the fresh label, so to speak, and so it's one where when we're ready to go with this, which will be very very soon, I'd rather have you inserted into something like proper rather than just just maybe have this match and don't worry about this, don't worry about that. But definitely there's interest there from a lot of other people as well. I think the main Dropkixx thing that gets ignored is that people see when people want it, if that makes sense. Like a lot of the guys, even if people aren't, let's say, as good as another person, they see look, this guy wants it, and let's try and embrace that. Because at the end of the day, the shows run because of the school. And
Academy shows.
Yeah, the shows run because of the school. And there's no shows without the school. And it's a case of you have to obviously work with people who are obviously attending, and not to take anything away from you. I think your progress since you first started, to this point now, is you came in very open, which is what I really liked. Some people, actually annoyingly older people who've done it before, they come into it very much right, this is what I want, this is what I want to do, I'm only doing this, nothing will change. But you came in very open, just right, I'd literally do whatever it takes to get onto the show, and that goes a long way, and it gets appreciated because then makes you easier to work with at training. And then the more you attend training, and people realise, okay, this guy's coming, let's try and give him a chance. Like I said to you, I think you definitely need to start working with a lot of the more experienced people. And at the moment we're going through a weird phase when it's the more experienced lot tend to come on Sunday sessions rather than the Wednesday session that you attend. So it's something which certain people will have to assess, because you need to work better people that are best than you. But
to learn,
which is why again, this whole Wednesday scenario, Sundays crisis, whatever's going on at the moment, I know it's going to fix itself because it will get to the point where the Wednesday club will peak because the ability of the people will only go up, can only reach a maximum, and then without working those people like your Hanleys, Barretts, even Matt Ball, people like that, you're not going to improve any better. And so you can do another year of just Wednesday if you want, but you're not going to get any better than the people that you're training with. Whereas on Sundays you have the option, and you have obviously the ring, you have more time, all that kind of stuff. In terms of character-wise, we've spoken about this. I don't want to spoil for anyone kind of out there, but there's some interesting different characters that would add different elements to the shows, which is the main thing. Because I'm looking at it from what an audience wants, and they want to see something new, they want to see different characters they haven't seen before. And because it's Academy show, we can try this stuff, and it might fall flat on its face, it might go differently to what you expect. But in terms of wrestling wise, it's there. Everyone wants to work with you at training. You come every week. this podcast as well, I think as well. I'd argue, again, shooting from the hip here, the podcast as well has probably got you onto people's radars that maybe it wouldn't have done through just training. Yeah, that's not really necessarily a bad thing. It's just a case of it would be a bad thing if literally you was only good at the podcast. But
Nigel the podcast guy.
I think definitely it helps get people in the radar because we expect people wanting to come on, and that's a case of they're not just going to. Most people anyway aren't going to mess you up the blue and just be like, can I be on? But they want to kind of have a rapport with you at training, get to know you. Yeah. And the only way to get to know you at training is to work with you. Yeah. And then,
And this helps build the rapport. I get to speak to people and not just see them on a Wednesday, some Neil or Nigel guy. I can get to speak to people on a more personal level.
Yeah, I've always said to people, like, I mean, Aden Taylor, he calls me up like 3 times a day. That boy does no work. I don't want to name employers because, it costs him a job. But, he will literally call me up for the smallest thing ever. Like, what do you think my t-shirt colour should be? Jack, I speak to all these guys every day. And I always said this to people just want to run through ideas, you want to do this, I don't mind, or I've got time to do all that kind of stuff. And sometimes it is when you have ideas, it's just a case of you want to make sure it doesn't sound. If you think it sounds crazy, you want someone else to kind of say no, it's not crazy. Yeah. And I also think it's really bad ideas. There's no problem with exploring them. And again, something I'm going to encourage a lot of people the next few weeks of training to do is just if you have these wild ideas, like fucking try them at training, like end of the day. Yeah, it's what it's there for, and I'd rather people do it at training than on a show. Yeah. So it's a case of if you've had different character ideas, which I don't want to go too much into on the podcast because I do want obviously it to be a surprise, something different for our fans of the shows and that. But I think some of this stuff you can actually try at training, and it's a case of people will help you like mould it into where it needs to go because a lot of these ideas they are good, but everything can be tweaked as you know. Yeah. But for you, definitely, I'd say the next few months are key of getting as much time in the ring, getting as much time working with more experienced people. I mean, I'd even challenge you on this podcast now, perhaps on Wednesday. He should be there. Perhaps Jack will be the one to work with. Adds a complete development because you have to work with someone who his natural instinct is to want to go 150 miles an hour, and he slowed down again, like we said earlier. He slowed down. But it's different from some other people who go a bit slower, some other people who are less spot based, less Jack. But yeah, that would be my advice anyway.
The filming is really helpful, I think.
Definitely.
I think that's really helpful because before you came, there was never really. I don't think I've ever seen much of myself. Yeah. Like in that way, the rest of I think I might have seen like one training match that was recorded. I think before that came. And actually seeing myself helps a lot. You think, that looked bad. Yeah. When you think about, when I was doing it, I think, that looked good. Until I look it back, I was like, I think I did get the height on that. Or that didn't look good. So keep doing that, man. Must be straight on your phone though. Yeah. Or
no, he is. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. But no, I don't mind doing that as long as I always feel a bit weird sometimes just standing there recording everyway.
No, it's good though.
It's definitely.
I think everyone appreciates it as well. I think everyone appreciates watching themselves.
No, good. Yeah. Well, gents, the multi-man, the fatal 4-way's over, and I'm going to call it right down the middle, and I think Jack won. Because Beaton, you never win. Beaton, you came third. So, guys, thank you for following my journey, listeners, listening to this show, and I look forward to wrestling a match with you all soon. Thank you very much to you, gentlemen. And ladies and gents, I will speak to you all next Thank you again for listening, and people, I need your help. I would love it if you could pop over to iTunes to leave this podcast a review. Your reviews are so important to me. I need to understand what you think of the show,
and it helps just raise awareness for everyone else on this show. And not only that, guys, if you have a friend or a relative who you know is an avid wrestling fan, please point them in this podcast's direction.